What's up guys, my name is Darren Jackson, welcome back to the channel. And earlier this Monday I made a video announcing some news that Torchlight finally gave us in regards to their merger with Metamaterials, which honestly wasn't much, but it was better than nothing, I guess. If you want to check out that video, by the way, I'll leave a link up above. I appreciate the guys that have watched the video so far. Thank you so much. But anyway, after making that video, and even while I was taking some notes to make the video, I really thought a lot about a lot of the conversations I've been having with you guys, and a lot of comments that I've gotten based off the videos that I've made have been more so surrounding the short-term goals with Metamaterials and Torchlight in regards to this merger, or for us, especially the short-term profits. And that primarily surrounds this Class A preferred stock dividend that Torchlight investors would receive after the special presentation or the special meeting that they're going to be holding hopefully sometime soon. Now, a lot of us that feel like this dividend is going to be pretty significant based off the assets that Torchlight has, it leans us more towards investing into Torchlight. But a lot of us that may not feel that it'll be as significant, that may be a reason why you lean towards investing through brokerages like TD Ameritrade and Fidelity and invest into Metamaterials. But obviously at the end of the day, no matter which side you're investing into post-merger, we're all gonna be one big company, which is pretty deep, but it's the truth. So with that being said, I wanted to make this video to give some insight on why you actually may want to invest in the long term based off what Metamaterials has going on. This video may be pretty naive because a lot of you guys may be investing for the long term, but for those of you guys that aren't, hopefully you enjoy this video. Now I wanna preface this video with two things. One, when I used to describe this merger, I would describe Metamaterials as primarily a tech-based company, which in some instances is pretty true. A lot of what they do surrounds this film that they call Nanoweb, which is made of these metamaterials that are basically materials that can manipulate or absorb any type of energy, primarily light, and it can be used in different applications that fall in technology. And there's even applications that fall in medicine and even energy. Speaking of energy, that's the one big thing that I wanted to highlight, something that they're actually doing and something that I've actually planned on doing as of a couple of days ago, which I really think would persuade a lot of you guys that were considering selling out for the short term to at least hold some stocks for the long term, or even just change your mind completely and hold on all of them for the long term. But I also want to preference this video by shouting out this commenter, who's hopefully a subscriber. They pretty much gave some insight about what Metamaterials has going on for it and really inspired me to make this video, so I appreciate you. And guys, feel free to leave comments below on things that you know that I may have not included. I promise you guys, I don't know everything about everything. This is simply my investing journey and sharing you guys what I know. So if there's anything I missed or said incorrectly, please leave comments below. But without further ado, let's talk about some of the things that Metamaterials has going on for it. So it being primarily a technology-based company is true, and they apply a lot of the metamaterials in the tech-based sectors such as aerospace and automobile, things I mentioned before. But one thing I actually did a lot of research on pretty recently is their implementation within the 5G infrastructure. And that comes with two different things they're working on, being reflectors and antennas, which are really cool. So the reflector aspect of it looks like it'll be applied onto just regular buildings with windows, and it allows the satellites to reflect their waves off of the actual windows themselves and apply it to whatever crowd source or space they're actually trying to hit, which I think is beneficial in two reasons. One, I think it helps the infrastructure of satellites because you don't have to install them to where they're directly focused on what they need to be focused on. And two, because of that, they have to install these, I guess, 5G cells that look like cubes maybe. You can kind of delete that if that doesn't seem to appease the crowd of the infrastructure, and you can replace that by these windows that just look like regular windows on buildings. So I think that's kind of cool. And speaking of windows, there's another thing they're working on called an antenna that you look like you would apply on an actual window. And it basically amplifies the 5G wavelengths that are going into buildings and houses by allowing it to pass through these windows, which would help people out with Wi-Fi and data and other stuff like that. And I think that's really cool too, because they always say that when you're looking for data or better signal, you want to go towards the window. So imagine if it was even better than that. So I think small stuff like that they're implementing is really cool as well. Now, another thing they're implementing their technology of Nanoweb on is within the medical field, which a lot of people already would describe as disruptively innovative, especially if you invest in any ARK fund. And that's really cool because that could cause exponential growth potentially with this stock and with this company overall. And they're implementing it with something called GlucoWeb. Now, GlucoWeb isn't out yet, but it's meant to be for people who suffer with diabetes and allows them a quick and convenient way of testing their glucose levels. Now, aside from the aesthetic appeal of it, it uses these nanomaterials to be able to transmit very thin waves into thin parts of tissue, primarily between your thumb and your index finger, to allow a virtually painless test, which makes it convenient for people and hopefully limits or reduces the bleeding to zero, which is even more convenient. So I think that's really cool as well. And even though it's really innovative, I really want to focus on the big thing that they have going on within the energy sector, which makes me disappointed that I call them more of a technology company, which made me really confused about why Torchlight was actually merging with them, because they were an oil and gas company wanting to get into renewable energy. Metamaterials has a lot going on with that. So on April 22nd, a couple of days after Torchlight announced that they still really don't know what they're doing yet, but they're figuring it out, Metamaterials actually announced a $10 million proposal that they have with a company called TRCH Geosystems. Now, TRCH Geosystems is an energy-based company that uses oil and gas techniques to harvest energy from the earth. Now, the way they do that is essentially drilling a hole into the earth and gathering the hot water and producing electricity. The regular way that's normally done is by something called a Rankine cycle. A lot of you engineers out there may remember what that is. I'm not gonna go into full detail of it, but I'll make sure I leave some videos at the bottom if you're interested in how that works or how some of the future things I'm gonna be talking about works. But basically, they drill a hole into the ground, they collect hot water, which turns into steam, and that steam pushes a turbine that's connected to a generator by a shaft. So it spins the shaft, which turns on the generator, which can produce electricity for a lot of applications. So it is a renewable source of energy and a clean source of energy that can create electricity. Now, the way they want to do it is a bit different, because a Rankine cycle and producing that is really expensive. And because it's really expensive, it's not going to be as cost efficient as something like a wind turbine in regards to wind energy. So the way they want to do it is by implementing thermoelectric generators. Now, they want to create a thermoelectric well around specific areas and have thermoelectric generators around those. And they use this Peltier model and something called a Seebeck effect. Again, I'll leave videos down below about that. And now essentially gather water and use the change in temperature to release electrons, which will then increase voltage and produce electricity. And that's really cool as well, because even though the Rankine cycle isn't really cost efficient, the whole aspect of thermoelectric generators is really popular. It's also really needed as well, especially in the times that we're in, that we're trying to keep the earth clean and find different types of energy that doesn't require coal and other stuff like that, whether it's renewable energy, clean energy, or both. And they actually feel like that the amount of money that they can make in this industry can be billions and billions of dollars, and they want to implement a more cleaner, sustainable earth with these geothermal systems by 2050. So the goal that they have is really cool, and I feel like it's going to attract a lot more investors, which will therefore increase the stock price as well. So guys, those are some of the quick things that they have going on. I was really attracted by the energy side of it, because I think it really exemplifies why Torchlight Energy Resources is merging with a company like Metamaterials. And I do feel like it's going to persuade me more to hold on to more stocks of Metamaterials in the future. Yes, I'd be lying if I said that I wouldn't use some of the money that I'd get from Class A preferred stock dividend to cash out or put towards something else. But the chances of me holding on to the stocks that I would currently have, or actually implement some of that money back towards stocks, it's increasing a bit more. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you like about Metamaterials? Are you still holding for the short term, or are you a little more persuaded to hold for the long term if you weren't already? Just let me know what your opinions about that are. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but speaking of other videos, make sure you watch some of these, which I hope help you guys on your investing journey as they have in mind. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. And until next time, take care.